everyone. Welcome into Drums by Liz. Today we're studying a little different ostinato with our foot pattern, especially on the hi-hat. We're using ands of the beat when we're playing any groove of choice, okay? So 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and. How I teach this and go about it is to use a heel-toe method, okay? Where we're going to be on the heel on our downbeats and the toe will be our ands of the beat. So just work that against just your eighth notes. Try to remember to play up on the bell of your ride. It'll bring out the beauty of what you're doing over here on your foot, okay? If we're playing heavily on the ride cymbal, it might cloud what we're doing there, okay? So we're gonna go then heel, toe, 3. So we're gonna go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you could start super basic, right? With just a super simple beat based on 1 and 3, snare, and 2 and 4. What I was playing, I would play the groove without the hi-hat so you can kind of hear it. The basic underlying groove to this was 1 and a 2 and 3 E and 4 E and 1, a 2 and 3 E and 4 E and. Your underlying beat. Now at times I was maybe embellishing a little bit, maybe going like 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4 E and 1 E and 2 and 3 E and 4 E and, right? Okay, so again, you can pick and choose what you'd like to embellish. A little bit more snare work would probably be kind of nice too. So maybe 1 E and bit of hi-hat notes, think of little ways that you can embellish that a little. I would love for you to make this into a 4-bar phrase. So we could kind of fool around with the groove for 3 measures and then come into this nice little, kind of like a bass drum, an ostinato that has to stay coordinated, keeping the ands on the hi-hat as we play a fill-in, okay? Now it's not a simple fill-in. We're not just going like, start with those easy things, just simple 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 right? So you can always take baby steps like that, okay? What I was working out though is to go like 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 1 and 2 E. Heel, toe, heel, bass, heel, toe, heel, bass, toe, bass. So if you can kind of think of it in that realm, it helps you with the process, right? So on the heel, we're playing a bass note. So it's like heel and then your toe, and then we're going to be playing it as a flam, bass, toe, bass. That's really what we have to kind of pull off if I threw the flam into that, okay? When we put everything together, let's just work on beat one. 1 beat and a, 1 beat and a. Pretty easy. Try to feel it. Now, let's do it as 2 E and a. That's our part. 2 E and a. Flam bass, toms bass. Your hi-hat has to be with the toms. So on the flam, you're on the heel. Heel bass, toe bass, heel bass, toe bass. So it's a little dance that you have to do between your feet, okay? You have to be patient with yourself learning these things. But really cool little fill-in, and it helps you to maintain those nice ands of the beat. Now, in one little section of what I was playing there, I got off. I don't know, I was trying to do some other little different fill-in, maybe a paradiddle or something, and I became inverted. I went back to the downbeat. But then I was like, I looked over and I was like, oh yeah, that's on the downbeat. I've got to get it back to the upbeat, okay? I left that mistake in there to just show you, you can pull out of those mistakes, right? I could go back to those ands of the beat when I came maybe back into the groove there, okay? So there's ways that even if you get off a little bit, you can make it happen for yourself, right? Okay, so now we have all of those components. So like I said, even if you practice just your foot pattern and then we try to do all of that, that's really, really kind of nice, okay? What I do with students then is I take that first beat rather than 1 beat and a, we're going to start embellishing one of the 16th notes. So maybe I'll choose to do the first double right. I'm going to go right, 1 E and a. So, right? So, right? I could throw that in. Maybe that could be towards the end of the measure. So just 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 and 2. Right, and you see how that kind of works for us, okay? All right, so now shift it. Rather than on the first note, let's do it on the E. 1 E and a. So now we're doubling the E of the beat and on beat one. What is that? Lesson 25. That's a rudiment. Right? So yes, you can use that then. 1 and a. Right? I just mix those up a little bit. Right? And it's just that one little thing, but it sophisticates it. Okay? How about the third note? Notice it's landing with the hi-hat. 1 E and a. It's right on the and of the beat. So, right? And again, I would mix these up. I wouldn't play that twice in a row necessarily, okay? It's fine for practice. Fine to get your sea legs with everything, okay? Now, how about the last one? Oh, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge pulling off of, right? Okay. And I just had a student in here an hour ago. We were working on a lot of that, like just coming off of that plan. I was doing a little something different with that student, and we were working it off into a little different thing, but it would be then, and that's a little bit easier actually, okay? So you got to come off of all of that. 1 E and up. So 1 E and up, 1 E and up. Right? And you want to keep it clean. You don't want to pop any of those flams, okay? Remember, one stick high, one stick low, and try to lift off your flams rather than driving into the flams. Like that's a little bit, it's not as sophisticated, okay? As you progress, right, right? Really bright, really stiff switches like that, okay? And that is the key to not having any popped flams. All right, let's look at the paradiddle at the end. So now I was doing, okay, so again, sorry to dial it back to that first part. Go through all of those scenarios and you've got a ton of embellished fill-ins for yourself, okay? The next part that I did was a little paradiddle thing. So just paradiddle, paradiddle. So right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. That's all that is, okay? But we have to keep the pattern going. E and a, two E and a. Right? And we want to hit it as 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a. Right? So it's similar to what we were working on before. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a. This is 2 E and 1 E and a, 2 E and. Right? And that'll work really nice for us too. Okay? That with the groove. 1, 2, and. This up tempo a little bit more, it would still sound okay, but you have to watch that you don't go too fast with grooves like this, because again, you want the beauty of what you're doing over here to come out. If I play it too fast, right, it might kind of cloud it, right? And I know that was messy, okay? But you can see we have tempos that kind of work better for us, okay? So. Options for ourselves, and that's the beauty of playing drums. Okay, everybody, have a great week ahead. Okay, stop in again, we'll be looking for you. Happy drumming.